Because I don't have an active license, I can talk about Northern Virginia any way I want. What's up, everybody? It's been a long time. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, I'm really glad to meet you, and I'm glad that you're here. You've been here before. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for hanging out with your boy. It's been a while, obviously, and one of the reasons why it's been so long is that I quit real estate. A lot of reasons why, but the main one is this: I got laid off. I was one of very many who were let go. Last couple of years were tough for real estate. I mean, if you're a buyer, you know that it was rough. In the real estate industry, on a corporate level, it was also tough. So since then, I started doing other things. So at the time when I was in real estate, I was doing real estate and marketing. Now I'm just doing exclusive marketing. And I thought to myself, if I'm not in real estate, I don't really need this channel. But then it hit me. When I was in real estate and I had this channel, one of the things that was tricky was talking about Northern Virginia without talking about it, because I didn't want to get hemmed up by the real estate commission, the real estate board. So now, because I don't have an active license, I can talk about Northern Virginia any way I want. It's even better to have the channel now because I can talk about school districts, I can talk about crime, I can talk about safety, I can tell you, hey, this is where you want to go. Maybe you want to rethink this one, right? So now I can talk about all of that without having to worry about getting, some kind of fine or whatever. So I'm back and just want to talk about a few things. This is for anyone who's around here, new here, or you're thinking about moving here. Now that I'm out the game like that, I see it a whole lot more just from a civilian point of view. Like I love living here, and these are the things that I see around, and I'm like, all right, this needs to go. And the first thing is, one thing you gotta know about living here is you have a free pass to complain about traffic anytime that you want. Some of the things that traffic related that I've noticed here on this side of Loudoun County, you really got to be careful on intersections that have left turns but no designated left turn signal. One place that this is super notorious is the stoplight, the four-way stop that's coming out of the main entrance of One Loudoun. When you're coming out of One Loudoun, it's a left turn, but there's no left turn signal. But the thing is, the light is short, and it's just one lane to get out of One Loudoun, and it backs up pretty far. So most people will not yield to cars that are turning right. They will gun it every time just because, hey, I don't want to miss the light. When you're in that turn lane and you are turning left and a car is turning right from the opposite direction, you have to yield. But be very careful about how you approach that intersection, because chances are the cars behind you are not thinking about yielding. So they are not stopping and they're not slowing down. So be careful about that. That's one thing you gotta watch out for. Other thing is, you gotta be super careful at pedestrian crossings. I read a lot of these stories for the cities closer to DC. So this is in Arlington, Alexandria, some parts of Fairfax County. Pedestrian crossings can be super dangerous. A pedestrian crossing is there so that pedestrians can cross safely and cars recognize the rules of the road. But people actually get bitter about pedestrians crossing at a pedestrian crossing because it's taking up their time. So a lot of people either gun it, they'll stop late, or they'll go super fast so that you don't cross. It's almost like, let me just get through just because I don't want to stop for them. So they'll just keep going. So you got to be super careful at pedestrian crossing. And then also, if you're in, there are certain cities that don't have a lot of active patrol cars, roaming the streets trying to get people, pulled over, getting tickets and all that. And it's in these places that people drive excessively fast in residential areas. So you got to be super careful, especially if you have kids, about where you live and how do people drive. If you're in a place that, especially if there's no HOA where you live, then chances are people will probably be speeding through your neighborhood. So you got to be super careful about that if you have kids. Oh my gosh, this is something I learned this year from my fellow Northern Virginia civilians who are so gracious. This is zipper merging. When you are merging onto the highway, don't try and merge right when the yield lane starts. You want to go all the way, almost all the way until the end of whether it's the end, the merge lane is ending or the next exit is beginning. There's a lot of room for you to work your way into the highway. And then conversely, if you are on the highway trying to merge, you don't have to slam on your brakes and get in the merge lane as soon as it starts. There's a lot of room that you can get in. So the way traffic works is that it works like this. That's how it's supposed to go. But the way that it works and the way that most people drive is instead of like this, it's more like this, like this. You know, that does cause accidents. You know, I'm in Leesburg here, so going on 7 West, right around the Battlefield Parkway exit, going to the 7 West, 15 South exit, that gets backed up pretty far. And the merging for that is atrocious. And that's a place that is, when it first came around, was notorious for fender benders, because everyone is trying to merge from 2 lanes over at the very end. This is not zipper merging. This is now just here you got to drive defensively. You know, you gotta be, even if there's nobody around, you just never know what people are thinking. Typically, they're only thinking about themselves, and that's the problem. So just be defensive and just watch your surroundings. The other thing is, if you're looking to rent, just recognize that rent rates are higher in the summer than they are in the winter. So a rent rate being $200 or $300 above what you saw it at, you know, the winter time, or the similar model, similar floor plan, being $200 or $300 higher is super common. So it's not you, it's not the management company who's trying to, you know, it's not a slumlord. It's really just how it goes. Now, property managers, you know what I mean, they're not slumlords, but they will take advantage of you. And one of the reasons why it's so expensive is because it's so competitive. Everybody's moving in the summer. The same way it is when you're trying to buy a house. The summer, right around the end of the spring into the summer, entering into the fall, is crazy. That's when everybody's moving, right? Because summer vacation, hey, it's the perfect time. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to juggle all those kinds of schedules. So it's a perfect time for everybody to make a transition. So recognize that it's going to be way more expensive. And also recognize that it's expensive to get anything the closer you get to DC. $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment is totally reasonable if you want to stay close to the Beltway, close to DC. That's really, you know, just prepare that every single level is gonna be competitive and it's gonna be expensive. The timeline that you want to give yourself a wide range to start looking and to get your money right. To that point, we hear a lot about, you know, high cost of living areas, right? You know, Loudoun County and Fairfax County, Northern Virginia, all this high cost of living area in terms of in the country. What has happened is this. So I heard somebody put it this way just last week, and it made so much sense. Northern Virginia is a very high cost of living place to be. If you're thinking about moving here, you want to compare Northern Virginia to other very high cost of living areas. So you want to compare it to Boston. You want to compare it to, I think Seattle's pretty expensive. You want to, you know, the stereotypical San Francisco, you want to compare it to that. These are our peers. But here, our peers are the ones that have an average home value of at least $500,000. That's what's normal here. Plan to have, you know, whether you have it or somebody else has it or a bank has it or wherever you can get it, just know that you're competing in a very high cost of living area. Now listen to this. I know I said all that, but there are always exceptions. And the thing is, the most valuable currency in this area is time. And so if you have a lot of time, or if you can give yourself a lot of time, you can usually find something that works for you in your price range that doesn't make you have to stretch to the very, very limits. You will have to stretch, but you may not have to do it to the very, very limit. I'll talk about, you know, the last person I helped buy a house when I was a realtor. What we did is we found this home in Reston that was just thinking about potentially moving out. moving down, to be with his daughter. He hadn't even thought about putting his house on the market. He hadn't even talked to a realtor, hadn't said anything. So we were able to get in at a really good price point because it hadn't been on the market yet. But at the same time, the house did cost $900,000. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, even if you get a sweet deal, what amount of money you need depends on where you're trying to go. So just be super prepared and be super creative. Think outside the box, when you're thinking about moving here and how you want to contact people and how you want to look for homes. If you want ideas, hit me up. I'm happy to help. This one in particular, the home that we found, the seller called me. We didn't do anything crazy. We just wrote letters. We wrote letters out. If you want an idea of the letter that we wrote, hit me up and I'll gladly send you a copy. And even in our case, I think we ended up sending out, I think it was like 12 letters. It wasn't that many. Just be creative. That's how you're gonna find what you want. If you want to compete with every single buyer in the world, then go to open houses, go to showings. But if you want to compete with simply getting somebody at the right time, then be creative. So anyways, guys, I'm glad to be back. I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know if in the comments what I missed out or what you want me to talk about. But happy house hunting, happy Northern Virginia living, happy wherever you are. I hope that living is happy. I'm glad to be back. Subscribe, join the team. Always excited for new people, new members, and new friends. Until next time, peace.